Hi everyone, my name is James Miller, and I never thought I'd be sharing this story with anyone outside my family. But here I am. If you had told me a year ago that I would end up standing outside my own home, shocked, betrayed, and completely speechless, I wouldn't have believed you. Yet here I am, living through a story that feels like it came straight out of a movie, except it's painfully real. I live in a quiet neighborhood in Chicago, not a fancy mansion or anything like that. Just a modest two-story house I bought with my wife over 30 years ago. My daughter, Emily, has been the center of my world since the day she was born. She's always been ambitious, clever, and strong-willed, but strong-willed in a way that I sometimes underestimated. It all started last spring. Emily had been working at a local insurance company for years, doing her 9 to 5 grind, always telling me how she dreamed of hitting it big one day. Maybe a lottery. Maybe some investment opportunity. Anything that could finally give her financial freedom. We laughed about it sometimes. I never thought it would actually happen. And then it did. One evening, Emily came rushing into the living room with a small envelope in her hand. She was practically shaking. Dad, you won't believe this, she shouted, eyes wide. I laughed nervously. Won't believe what, Emily? Did you finally get that promotion? She dropped the envelope on the coffee table. Her hands trembled as she ripped it open. The numbers were all there. $10 million. $10 million. I stared at the ticket. My heart skipped a beat. Wait, you actually won $10 million? I asked, my voice trembling. Yes, she screamed. We're rich, Dad. We don't have to worry about money ever again. At that moment, I should have felt ecstatic. I should have hugged her, danced, cried tears of joy. But something in her expression, something in her eyes, felt off. There was excitement, yes, but also a flicker of entitlement. Over the next few weeks, Emily started changing. It wasn't overnight, but little things added up. She began making decisions without consulting me. She redecorated her room with expensive furniture. She insisted on buying a brand new car, despite having a perfectly good one. Dad, I'm an adult now. I don't need your input on everything, she said one evening, tossing a brochure for a luxury sedan on the kitchen counter. I tried to laugh it off. Emily, I'm just concerned. That's all. Money changes people, and I want you to be careful. She rolled her eyes. Don't be so old-fashioned, Dad. You don't understand. This is our chance to live like we deserve. Her words, they stung more than I expected. I realized she was not just excited about the money. She was transformed by it. Then came the day I'll never forget. It started like any other Saturday morning. I was having my coffee, reading the newspaper, when Emily stormed into the living room. Dad, she said, her tone sharp, I need you to leave the house. I choked on my coffee. Excuse me. You heard me. You need to go. I've decided to make some changes here, and it's better if you're not around. I laughed nervously, thinking she was joking, but her face was serious. Dead serious. Emily, you can't be serious. This is my house too, I said, standing up. I'm serious, Dad. I bought this place, and I can do what I want now. She snapped, and then she handed me a stack of documents, some papers that supposedly proved she had full authority over the house now. I looked at them, bewildered. Everything seemed legal. Everything seemed in order, except something didn't feel right. That night, I sat alone in a small motel, unable to sleep. My mind raced. How could this happen? How could my own daughter? And then it hit me. The lottery ticket. The $10 million ticket. Emily never checked the name on the ticket. In the rush of excitement, she assumed it was hers. But I had bought that ticket weeks earlier as a gift for her. I remembered the day clearly. I told her, try your luck, Emily. You might get lucky. And she took it, never thinking to check whose name it bore. Could it be that the winning ticket was actually mine all along? I don't want to go into what happened next just yet, because that part of the story, that's where the real drama begins. The betrayal, the deception, and the emotional roller coaster that followed. That's something you have to hear for yourself. But let me tell you this. When you think you know someone, when you think you've raised them right, life has a way of surprising you. And sometimes, the people you trust most are the ones who shock you the hardest. After that fateful day when Emily handed me those papers and demanded that I leave the house, I felt my world collapse. I didn't know whether to be angry, heartbroken, or terrified. The little home I had built with my wife's savings, the walls that held decades of memories, laughter, and tears, were now foreign to me. I packed a few essentials, clothes, some personal items, and the envelope with the lottery ticket, and left the house that I had once proudly called mine. Walking down the quiet streets of Chicago, I felt like a ghost. My neighbors waved politely, unaware of the storm raging in my life. Inside the house, Emily was a different person. Gone was the sweet, somewhat shy girl I had raised. She was now bold, confident, and reckless. Her first order of business? Renovating the house into something extravagant, something that screamed wealth. The furniture was replaced with the most luxurious sets, the walls painted with modern designs, and expensive gadgets littered every corner. She bought a sleek sports car and parked it in the driveway, almost as if she were announcing her new kingdom. Every time I saw pictures of the house on social media, my stomach twisted. Emily would post stories with captions like, "New beginnings, new life. Blessed 10 million win." I couldn't help but feel invisible, erased from the very life I had nurtured. For weeks, I tried to make sense of it all. I wandered between cheap motels, sometimes sleeping in my old car just to save a few dollars. My mind kept replaying the lottery ticket. I knew I had bought it, handed it to Emily, and now she believed it was hers. I questioned myself constantly. Should I confront her? Should I let it go? Should I fight for my rights? But every option felt like walking a tightrope. If I acted hastily, I might lose her forever. At night, I would sit alone and write down my thoughts. Some nights, I wept quietly. Some nights, I laughed at the irony. Emily thought she had it all, but she hadn't even checked the ticket's name. That tiny detail, so insignificant at first, could change everything. Emily didn't waste a second living her newfound wealth. She booked luxury vacations, shopping sprees, and extravagant parties. Friends I barely recognized started appearing in her social media stories. The person I once called my daughter was now surrounded by strangers, people who only cared about money and status. Every post, every story, every picture cut deep. But even as I struggled, a part of me admired her boldness. She had confidence. She had drive. And for the first time, she was living on her own terms. I just wished she had remembered where it all began and who had given her the opportunity. One evening, as Emily was celebrating her latest purchase, I noticed a small envelope on the floor near the kitchen counter in one of the social media videos. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be? I realized then the lottery ticket, the real winning ticket, was still in my possession. All this chaos, all this extravagance, was based on a misunderstanding. Emily believed she had won, but the truth was far more complicated. The thought thrilled me and terrified me simultaneously. If I revealed the truth now, how would she react? Would she even believe me? And what about the friends she had gathered, the people who were celebrating her win? They had no idea what was really happening. I knew I couldn't act rashly. I had to plan carefully. If I approached Emily without strategy, she might cut me out completely. I needed to find a way to get her attention, make her see the truth, and reclaim my rightful place in the story. Over the next few days, I began documenting everything. Her spending habits, her new friends, the way she flaunted wealth, and her oblivion to the real winner of the lottery. I knew I had to act at the perfect moment. Timing would be everything. The tension was unbearable. Emily was living the high life, surrounded by luxury and false friends. I was alone, but I had the leverage, the winning ticket. The next steps I would take, the revelation that was about to come, would shake the very foundation of our family. And when the truth finally came out, no one would remain unchanged. The real question remained, would Emily accept the truth, or would this destroy the relationship forever? It was early morning when I finally decided it was time. I could no longer watch Emily live in a fantasy that wasn't hers to claim. $10 million, a life of luxury. And yet, the ticket, the golden ticket that changed everything, was safely in my possession. I had spent weeks planning, weighing every option, every possible reaction. I didn't want confrontation. I wanted revelation. I wanted Emily to see the truth for herself, to understand the depth of what she had done, and perhaps to see the man she had pushed aside for greed and excitement. I texted Emily a simple message. "We need to talk. It's important. Please come home." Her reply was swift and sharp. "Dad, I'm busy enjoying my life. Can't you leave me alone?" I took a deep breath. Patience was key. I knew she would come eventually. Curiosity, pride, and the subtle unease of having overlooked something so vital would draw her in. And it did. That evening, she walked through the door, her expression a mix of irritation and mild curiosity. "Dad, what now?" she asked. I smiled faintly, holding the envelope with the lottery ticket. "Emily, remember this?" I laid the ticket on the table, slowly, deliberately. Emily's eyes widened as she recognized it. That's the ticket," she exclaimed. "I won. I can't believe it." I shook my head gently. "No, Emily. You never checked the name. This ticket, it's mine. I bought it weeks before you even saw it. I handed it to you as a gift, yes. But the winner, the real winner, is me." Her face changed. Confusion. Shock. Then denial. "No, that's impossible. I saw the numbers. I played. I won," she stammered. I let her words hang in the air. "You thought you won, Emily. And in your excitement, in your greed, you forgot to see the truth. You acted as though it was yours. Expensive purchases, renovations, even trying to take the house from me." The room was silent. The only sound was Emily's shallow breathing, the ticking of the clock on the wall, and my own steady heartbeats. Tears welled up in Emily's eyes. "Dad, I didn't know. I thought." "I know," I said softly, cutting her off gently. "And that's why I planned this moment carefully. I didn't want anger. I didn't want bitterness. I wanted understanding." She sank into the couch, burying her face in her hands. "I was wrong. You forgot that life isn't just about money, Emily. It's about trust, love, and respect. You kicked me out because you thought you had it all, but you nearly lost your family in the process." Her sobs were quiet but deep. The realization hit her like a storm she couldn't escape. I pulled out a small photo album from my bag, a collection of memories from her childhood. First steps, first day at school, birthdays, family vacations. "Look at this, Emily. All of this our life, our memories. It's not something money can buy, and no lottery can replace what we've shared." Her hand shook as she flipped through the pages. Every picture told a story she had nearly forgotten in her pursuit of wealth. Every memory reminded her of the bond she almost destroyed. "Dad, I'm so sorry. I can't believe she said, voice breaking. I nodded. "Apologies are good, Emily, but actions matter more. Let's start rebuilding together." The lesson. In the days that followed, Emily returned the extravagant purchases, made amends with the neighbors she had offended, and even started a small charity project using part of the winnings to help underprivileged families. She understood now that wealth is a tool, not a purpose. We laughed, cried, and shared late-night talks like we used to. The house felt alive again, not because of renovations, but because the family that truly mattered was back under its roof. And the lottery ticket? It remained with me, a reminder that fortune is not always what it seems, and that patience, understanding, and love can guide even the most turbulent storms to calmer seas. I often tell friends and neighbors our story, sometimes exaggerating the drama, sometimes just letting the raw truth come through. And every time, I emphasize one thing. Life is unpredictable. People change. Wealth tempts. But family, trust, and love, that's the real treasure. Emily and I still laugh about that crazy few weeks. And while $10 million could have been the center of our world, we realized the true jackpot was never the money. It was the bond we fought to preserve,